In this video tonight, we're going to look at two different stocks in here. We're going to look at a stock that has a lot of IV, but has really underperformed for us here within the past few weeks. And we're going to look at a stock that has really outperformed, kind of jumped up here within the last 3 weeks, but relatively has small IV compared to itself. So we're going to take a look at JMIA here, first up here on this overall weekly chart. You can see that right now we're trading in the lower section of this overall structure here. We're down here on this lower trend line. First up, our support is going to be that lower trend line in here, and anything outside of there, we're looking down here right around that $6 area and then the 552. Now, if this trend line does end up being breached once again and then held this week, then we're going to be looking to the upside in here right around that 9-day EMA sitting at 747. And then we're going to take a look at that $8.10 level and then that 50-day SMA sitting at 872. So your overall IV in here is relatively juiced compared to itself. That's because we do have an earnings catalyst coming up in here. So May 7th, we're looking for an earnings report in JMIA. So we're going to see what type of action the traders are kind of pricing in. Right now, it's about $1, but we're going to see how that changes the closer we get to that earnings report. Overall, our momentum indicators and things like that, relatively oversold, more or less kind of to the neutral side more than anything, more than we are oversold. But overall, we will take what we can get down here. RSI sitting in the 38s and $40 range. So going forward in here, what are we looking at? It's all going to be about the earnings call, right? So what is going to happen? Are we going to get a run up into earnings? What's going to happen after the call? And then how much is IV going to expand and then contract after that catalyst comes out? That is going to be the question. But overall, nice key levels in here for us on either side in here for us to hit coming in on that expected move in here. We're also going to take a look at GameStop in here. So a nice little pop in here in the past 3 weeks. Obviously, a big pullback in here today. And we actually had some volatility coming in for us today. So about 10% down on the day. So going into today, we had a relatively low IV compared to itself, a little bit of a jump in here. So basically, more or less, we're looking at kind of the same action in here, both kind of downtrends today, when yet we had IV kind of stay put in one, and then IV actually gained in GameStop in here. So your IV got taken out in here in the past 3 weeks, came back in today. JMIA basically stayed elevated more or less as we're focusing on that earnings report. So you can see we outperformed ourselves in here within the past 3 weeks. So today was just a reversion back to the mean in here. Looks like we got a magnet on us here to this 50-day SMA. That's trading at 23.39. Anything outside of that, we're looking at this 22.53 level. That's your 200. And then also anything outside of there, you're looking all the way down here right around that $20 psych level. To the upside in here, obviously, major key level was breached in here today, that 24.50. Anything outside of that, we're looking at that 25.93. So overall, kind of a tale of two different stocks in here, right? So you GameStop, a nice big run in here, a big bounce off of that 200-day SMA. Volatility collapses. Now it came back in. JMIA basically just kind of lingering, not really doing anything down on that lower trend line of the overall structure of the chart. And then your IV is still staying relatively elevated because of that earnings catalyst. Also, we got to keep in mind your momentum indicators in GME in here. A little bit of a pop the past 3 weeks. Obviously, today kind of changed everything because we did have it to, that 10% down. But overall, RSI in here sitting basically neutral. Your MACD and things like that basically neutral as well. So nothing really to worry about there on that front. But again, we're going to see how things change as we continue throughout the week in here for GameStop. Are we going to get a full mean reversion in here? We're going to get back to that 200 SMA and then go on, or we kind of stop right here in no man's land between this 50-day and this 24.50? That's kind of the question. So let's see what happens in here as we continue watching both of these stocks throughout the next week or so. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you're interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.